Steve, looking beyond this season with Julius Randle, obviously he's under contract. We all talk about the Knicks potentially making a big move at some point, maybe this summer. Does this mean anything for the big picture with the Knicks and Julius Randle?
Well, I know you mentioned before the possibility of extension, and both he and Brunson, I think, are eligible this summer for an extension. And I've heard whispers that Brunson would be open to discussions to do it this summer. Um, and I don't know Julius's case. Maybe coming off of this, it's not a wise decision, or maybe it is because we've seen what can happen. To me, I think that maybe this accentuates the need to go ahead and make one of those all-in moves that they've been talking about for a while, because you see how fragile this is. They had put together a team that I think people were looking at as a championship contender this year, and you can say, it is next year, but I think there's a lot of uncertainty. You've still got to sign OG Anunoby. You've still got to figure out a way to sign and keep Isaiah Hartenstein. Precious Achiuwa is a restricted free agent. I think they've done an interesting job here building, but they've got a lot of young or a lot of draft picks here that are still just kind of sitting in there waiting for a target. I think that the Bogdanovich contract and that are things that will be dangled out there this summer. And, is it the time that maybe we see that Donovan Mitchell would work here, because we've seen Jalen play with smaller guards and it works. I just think when you see how this came apart here, getting all the talent and stars you can is an important thing. You can do it, and this is the time when they have the cap, the ability around the cap to work it.
I'll just pick up and before I talk about the next season and beyond, Steve, whispers about Jalen Brunson being open to a contract extension. That's the best news I've heard today, albeit it's a low bar to raise over that. As far as this summer goes, I think, unquestionably this injury complicates things, because from my vantage point, at least, and maybe this is incorrect, I look at how well Dante DiVincenzo has fit in the starting lineup. And I'm not saying he's Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's an all-NBA caliber player, but he's third in the league in threes. He defends. Obviously, there's chemistry with Brunson and with the rest of the starting five. So, is that a spot that you're going to swap out for a star player? I don't know. OG, obviously, they're going to hope to resign him. He's a lock for part of their core. And then if you don't have, one of these big centers that becomes available to take, their place in the starting five, which again, we all know who those guys are. One in Philly, everybody's had their eye on for years, but who knows if that comes to fruition. So all of a sudden you're looking at, all right, well, where is there going to be the upgrade? What spot is left to upgrade? And if you land on the position of like, all right, your co-star next to Brunson, well, I don't know how tradable now Julius Randle is this summer, because he's going to be in the middle of rehabbing from this injury. It feels like wrong to even bring that up on the day this news is announced. But if we are looking ahead for moves this team could potentially make, I think it would be irresponsible not to at least, call that into question. What does that look like? What would those negotiations even sound like between them and another team if Randall's name comes up, to the extent that it would come up?
I would add too that when I was going to say when you talk about next year, I just don't think this year is a give up right now. If OG is okay, because I think one of the advantages they've had, as hard as it's been and the load that's been on some of these guys, is that we've allowed Dante to become what he is. I think the best season of his career by far. Deuce McBride has come up and just become a real important two-way player. I just think there are pieces here that have had, because they've had so much time without these guys, that if you look at it, there are pieces here who have developed and become an important part of this team. And I think when you fit in an OG, it maybe fits a little better than it did when he went out.